Cross positions on this map, only of course to the bottom. We have our Zerg player starting for Samsung Khan. Starting in the red it is
Samsung Khan, Ro32.
He tied the series, he forced game number 3. On the top we have his opponent. Starting in blue it is the Startail player. It is
Startail, Hack.
Not looking very happy about last game.
Yeah, not really. He queues up the waypoints with his SCV once more.
SCV doesn't know where he's going or what he's doing. So he's like, wait a minute. I am here to do something. I have a purpose. I have to make the barracks.
Pretty short SCV dance though.
Yeah. Not gonna make anyone impressed at the club with that.
No, he's not gonna go for some kind of backwards moonwalk or whatever.
No. He just actually think he was having a seizure. A very brief one.
Yeah.
It's over now, everything's okay.
Everything's fine. Continued building the barracks. And of course we have the hatch first once more for his opponent, for Ro32. And yeah, Antigua Shipyard, middle of the map. That's where we see the first drone, and he is sending it out on the map right away. But yeah, if we are sieging up in the middle of the map as a Terran play, you have a pretty good hold of those 2 mineral patches in the middle. You remember the times when we actually had like the gold bases there? That was so scary. Terran was so strong here. He could hold just the middle.
He's going gas before pool again.
Yeah.
I like this. This is something that is really not going to be a big problem unless you get bunkered, and even if that happens, I mean, that's rare on a map like this. It's a 2-player map. Well, it's a 4-player map, but it's basically 2-player with cross spawns. But the rush isn't as long enough. The scouting information is good. He's scouted with a drone, checked for proxies, so I like this choice, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see some of that aggression we talked about, and that would be really cool. I think that would be a good idea.
It's definitely a very strong build. You don't necessarily have to go for some kind of Baneling and Roach composition a while ago. What is a little bit out of fashion these days is just a Roach push. That you build 7 to 9 Roaches, depending on how many you actually want to use, and then you push out. If your opponent opens up with Hellions or doesn't have any Marauders on the map, you can do damage. It's not actually about killing your opponent, you just try to do damage, and even if you just attack the wall, and the Terran will be forced to pull SCVs off the line, and then you can snipe the SCVs. Double Queen now, of course, being built, and we'll find out what Ro is going to do. He starts with the speed here, quite early. He is not mining gas, though. That doesn't necessarily tell us that he's not going for early aggression. If he gets a second extractor and pulls it back later, then he will still be fine, but it kinda indicates that he's most likely going again for a little bit more of a stable build with additional queens, and just tries to get the Zergling speed to have the map control the early game.
The only thing that's on my mind right now, actually...
Oh, he mines again. He goes for gas again.
I'm thinking about, for some reason, gold mineral patches. I kind of miss them. They're not in the game at all anymore. And, you know, I actually really disliked them, and I was so glad when they were gone, but now that they're gone, I miss them a little bit.
Sometimes the games were crazy. Well, this SCV is not going to stop anymore.
Because, you know, you were talking about that Roach push, and we saw players like Lucero oftentimes go fast to the gold base, the hatchery to do things like that. He's taking a second gas here, man. I think we're going to see, well...
a very fast tech 2-layer.
That's not what I expected, but the answer was still there.
It's a little bit more unusual. The question now is rather what exactly does he want to do. There are several options that he has. He can go for... the most crazy thing to pull off here would be an IDIS network. That's something that we probably won't see. That would be like too crazy.
That's too crazy.
He can go for drop play. We've seen this on Antigua Shipyard. Drop play with Lings, also with Roaches, is very strong of how the map works. You can just drop into the main base of your opponent. You can just simply go for fast Mutalisks or fast Infestors. The 2 latter options are the ones that we see most of the time, but drop play is something that, for example, the TSL Zergs really like to use on this map, and we also had Zenix player use this strategy.
No, I'm really curious if we'll see fast Mutas 2 games in a row or not. I think that seems the most predictable.
Yeah.
But for that reason, it's like too predictable for Hack to prepare for it.
But he started all of this after he killed the SCV scout, so it depends on what Hack does. If he really sacrifices some energy for another scan, or if he sends in another unit, those Hellions would have to poke a little bit to see that there is a Spire. And right now, he goes for a fast Mutalisks play, which is not too uncommon on this map, but I actually rather thought he would go for something fancy like a drop play. I would have loved drop play here, but with a Mutalisk he can still do a lot of damage. It depends how passive hack plays, but this time, as you can see in the production tab, he starts with his upgrades, with his engineering bay a little bit faster, and therefore he will know when to build the missile turrets.
He's really showing a hack here that he's comfortable with the Mutalisk play, very quick Mutalisk. Something that was more common in Brood War, of course, than in StarCraft 2.
It's also a very old strategy in ZVT. It was the go-to strategy like half a year ago, maybe a little more.
And
he needs to get out of here.
Yeah, he does. He's going to lose his dropship.
Yeah. Dropship is dying.
Trying to target some drones. He may get maybe 3 or so, but...
That he sees everything that's going on. He saw the Spire. He saw the Spire and he killed only 2 Harvesters.
Very little damage done.
Immediately, double Viking. We have the Thor. Does he build a missile turret though? That's the one thing that I'm still missing. He certainly has enough minerals, but he doesn't use it.
He's waiting until the last second, I suppose. Which I guess is cool in one way, but gotta make sure he does make at least a few of those. It's so important.
There it is, missile turret #1. He's definitely preparing for this, and with the Thor, he's gonna be fine. The 3rd base is building for Hack. He just doesn't take it, so he has to rely on his 2 bases, which is okay. Not gonna be a problem for him. He's definitely not gonna lose the same amount of harvesters as he did in the last game.
Yeah, and he may get a Viking though. No, not quite. But we talked about this before, and Roro is doing it again because he doesn't have a lot of queens because he went for this fast layer. He's actually going for using his overlords to spread creep, and he does force a cancel on this gas, takes out a few SCVs, but Roro in a nice aggressive position right now. I love this overlord to spread the creep faster. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. It's something that we don't see enough, but I don't... Does he really... I don't think he really actively uses it. I think he has the overlord in position and spreads creep, but I don't think that he actually moves it.
He used it for a second. He got a little bit of advantage from it, but he didn't use it as well as he could have, you're right. And I think that's because he was focused on his mutas, but the potential for that is there. The plan is in motion, and I think that the more Castle players, for example, we notice them specifically doing this, the more that this catches on, I think the faster that creep is going to get spread.
I don't know, I think it's just weird. We've seen it a few months ago, like 4 months ago, a few Zerg players did it, and they spread the creep so fast, but right now, nobody really bothers. If you actually want to do it like really well, you have to get overload speed too.
By the way, did you hear about the proposed queen change that Blizzard posted today?
Yeah, I think they didn't they release the map again in Antigua Shipyard. Like the creep recedes a little bit faster, and it's tougher for Zerg players in general to spread creep, but in a good way.
The vision is reduced, and the maximum range you can spread the tumor is reduced. That's going to mess with a lot of Zerg players' heads, though. I think I would hate that if I, for years did this creep spread, and you can't see the range. You're just trying to spam it out. You can't do it.
If they're only slight changes, then I think it's a good change. It depends on how much they actually want to change it, what the final changes are going to be. So I like the idea, I like the approach, but it depends on how they execute it. Because I completely agree with Terran players being a little bit whiny about how fast a Zerg player can spread creep these days. This is definitely an issue, but they should make sure that they don't overdo it.
Well, I want to say before we close talking about this topic that if you guys are curious about it, go test that map. That's why Blizzard makes that. And I don't want to hear any tweets. I don't want to see any posts saying, I can't believe Blizzard thought this was a good idea. They didn't test it or ask anybody. Yes, they did. They also, the patch 1.5 is out right now. There was a whole beta that anyone could play on. Yep, they did test that. Nobody played on it. I went on there and tried to play. No one was playing. Listen, guys, stop whining and test this stuff. Seriously.
No, it's true. People need to test it out and give Blizzard feedback, and of course there will be a lot of feedback that Blizzard might not be able to use because it's really hard for people these days to give like constructive criticism. But still, everyone has the opportunity to play this map, to talk about the changes, and Blizzard is known to actually look at feedback. We talked to several Blizzard employees, and they all mentioned that they have teams scanning the forums, looking at Reddit, Team Liquid, and making sure that they know what's going on, what occupies people's mind. But on the other hand, they always wait also in order to make sure that the feedback that they receive is really valid. Exactly. Not just some people being scared like, oh no, I can't use the strategy that I've won with for the last 6 months anymore. This is imbalance. And no, I can't be bothered to actually try to find a new way of dealing with this.
The funniest thing to me is I think that like 90% of the people who complain about balance on forums actually don't play StarCraft. You know what I mean? Like, they're just actually there to complain.
The thing is, everyone is always playing the weakest race. This was already something that we saw in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
My race is the weakest. No. Ah, nice drop pick up here.
Yeah, he actually, there was no way that drop's getting away.
No, he saw it and he knew that it was coming. But at this point in the game now, we have suddenly the 4th base. And this is where it gets interesting. Because at this point in time, we have a great creep spread for Roro, who's playing a good game here, by the way. Like, a strong game. And he has the 4th base. And now the ball is Hack's court. He needs to do damage. He needs to do something. And it's not going to be easy because Roro is not only taking to Hive. No, this guy is building 12 infestors at a time.
Yeah, they're all going to come out with pathogen glands. It's going to be so much energy he can use. His creep spread is still so good. It's already halfway across the map.
This is not a situation where Hack is like, oh my god, I'm going to lose here. We've seen this scenario over and over again. But the problem is the amount of Zerglings that we have. 104 with decent upgrades. Going for +2/+2 is actually a little bit ahead in the upgrade count. And now the Banelings come into play. Baneling, Infestor, Zergling. This is going to get scary.
It's going to get very scary. And Roro's got enough units to defend here. This is going to be... Hack, it may... You know, if he doesn't attack carefully, this is going to be a mistake. This drop is a big problem, though. He's relying on those spine crawlers, but they're not ready yet. He needs to send some units over, and he does.
Yeah, he does. He's not going to lose the spine crawler, but the 5th base has to be cancelled. Yeah. Like, yes, there it is. The cancel starts, but this is where the game kind of starts on this map quite often if both players go for the standard strategy. When both of them just try to make sure that their opponent doesn't get a 4th. The Terran player usually tries to establish a planetary fortress in the middle of the map. Some players argue that it's better to have a command another orbital because they can lift it against run-by. I personally don't like it at all, because with the planetary and a couple of siege tanks to back it up, you are so safe against run-bys. It helps you to just control the center of the map. But these attacks, this is where it really comes down to, and Roro is in a great position here. He catches all these tanks off guard.
There's nothing to stop him here. He's going into the 3rd base, he's going into the natural as well. And right now, Hack has to decide what to do. He's hesitating a little bit with this force in the middle of the map. He's not actually doing anything with it.
Hack is completely out of position here. He's trying to hit the 4th of his opponent, but he's going to lose his 3rd if he's not careful. He might actually lose a lot on his natural as well. Roro decides so that it's time to move back. And this is really scary for Hack. Roro might be our 2nd Caspar player that is actually able to advance. The 4th for him is gone, of course, but still, he's on 3 mining bases against just 2 for his opponent.
Yeah, and he's got the ability to actually surround and kill these siege tanks if he sees them on siege, which he does with the creep. He's sending the infestors and trying to bungle. He will actually attack now. There's nowhere to run. Where are you going to go, Hack?
Oh my god, and those infestors, look at this. They are hiding between the siege tanks. Yes, a few of them die, but everything is being killed. There's just too much. Roro with the perfect timing for this attack moves in when now a single siege tank is in siege mode. And now he's moving in once again. He has the better upgrades at this point, but he is not able to break this wall of Marines and siege tanks just yet. But I doubt that Hack is able to move in again and take down another 4th. Roro is in a great position.
The position is good. He's got the hatchery being rebuilt. The concerning thing, though, is it's still now 3 base against 3 base. He really, really needs a 4. This is why Zerg players struggle on this map. It's so difficult to take that 4th. No turrets up for this base. There's no Marines nearby, though. Small mule is forced, but it's going to force the Marines, or rather SCVs, off the line.
And the mules. And Zerglings run in, and he's always able to catch siege tanks off guard. I don't know how he does it. It's like he knows exactly where they are positioned and he heads for them. Now we have Broodlords, a transition that is usually a little bit scary on this map, and not for the Terran player, but for the Zerg. Because if he loses the Broodlords, or just the anti-air, then he might lose the Broodlords as well. They are just very slow. It's hard to defend your bases. But with all the Zerglings that we have out on the ground, it's a composition that will work for Roro. If he approaches his opponent's army well, those Broodlords are going to make all the difference.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as he can hold the Watchtower, he'll be able to use them really well. That's the most crucial thing with using Broodlords on this map, because there's so much open space on the ground. You can actually fight them with Marines if there's no support. So if you lose any fight, you're going to lose all your Broodlords. Hack is moving out on the map with Army. He is overstimmed with very few medevacs on creep against this competition. Roro is going to be feeling great about this. If he just takes this engagement, he may just take the game.
And Hack has to build Vikings, and he knows that he can't build additional medevacs, and this is going to be a problem. Here they come, the Broodlords on the move, the Queens are available for transfusers, we have the Infestors for the Mongols. Everything is just set up well for Roro. He's 80 supply ahead, and he's going to use this. He's chasing his opponent's fleeing army down. Every single siege tank is already gone, and now the Marines and Marauders are going to be annihilated.
Hack he's in big trouble right now, losing his last Viking. Medevac does escape for now, but this base, you know, it's not a planetary. Not going to be able to stick around. He loses every single SCV. Hack down to 79 supply. How
Roro
can he come back here? Yeah, I think he has.
Roro has done it. This
so much fungal energy left as well.
This best of 3 is going to end in favor of Roro. The Fungals are spot on. The Zerglies close the distance. The Broodlords are on the move, guarded by Corruptors. There are no Vikings. Only one is now available to Hack. This is not going to be enough. He's dying. He's down to 40 supply. Roro is the second Caspar player who is able to advance to the round of 16 at the WCS Korea.
Yep, 32 supply left for Hack, and he doesn't have any nukes in his arsenal. He doesn't have any miracles either. He relands his orbital in the middle of the map, but that's not going to be able to mine for very long.
Yeah. If he runs over to his opponent's booth and punches him out, then he might be able to come back into this game, but that is not very likely. GG!
GG.
Wow.